He was imprisonment. He was imprisoned. He went to prison and he wrote a book on how he had committed that scam. That book was Rogue Trader. And the book became a bestseller and became a millionaire all over again. Sitting in jail. I'm not giving you any career options. It's a fact. It's a very strange... Expect a book from Vijay Mallya anytime now, so basically. Anyway. So when we talk about a man's fall from perfection, this difference is what we are talking about. Which leads to the next situation. So when this happens, how do we feel? How do employees feel? How was Arjuna feeling at that point of time? Like this. This is repression and suppression. Don't say this, don't say that. They will get offended. And we have become very sensitive, don't you think, in the past 5 years? I mean, like cracking a joke without offending anybody is like scaling the Mount Everest now. You simply can't do it. So this is the feeling. This was the state of our legendary hero just before the war. And the job of Krishna, that's why it is said he is an expert counselor. The job of Krishna was to take him out of this state and make him a hero. Something very similar to the responsibilities which maybe HR managers have. One of the most difficult things on this planet is to make someone else work. Because a human thinks and then acts. Right? If I have a laser printer, I give it a command 10 copies. I can be very sure that if the printer is not out of paper, the 10 copies will be precise. I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Ask a human to write the same thing 2 times. And the handwriting will change. And the grammar will change. And the idea would change, and so many things would change. Why? Because he's a human. He thinks and then he acts. Unlike a comp. And we have forgotten this basic strength that we have, the ability to think. Which shows a lot of the current generation, running away from anything which makes them think. Anyway. So what are the main causes? Why is this caused? There is a small difference between the two terms, suppression and repression. One of them happens subconsciously, without we knowing that it's happening. Right? And the other, thoughts come to our mind, but we push them away to a corner. That never helps. That never helps. For example, if a person is studying, and the thought comes to his mind, why am I doing this? And he says, नहीं बाद में आना, अभी कल अप्रेजल है, बाद में आना, बहुत गलत टाइम पे आएगा फिर वो thought. If this happens, according to the Bhagavad Gita, the best way is to set aside what you are doing and resolve that conflict once and for all, all the time. Now this is a very dangerous thing to say. I still remember a few years ago, I am not going to take any names again. I went to a corporate with a training program. Now problem is the HR department, that is again an irony I find, not to criticize anybody. And I met the HR head and he said, what would be the tangible takeaways from this program? I found that question a bit paradoxical. We are talking about humans. Tangible takeaways somehow reduces them to, numbers. Right? Anyway, said, fine. It's your world, so we'll play by your rules. And I said, I can't assure you, but maybe after the program a few people realize that this is not what they are meant to do and they can quit your company. So that company was already in the IT sector, which has a very legendary attrition rate. Right? And I didn't even bother making a follow-up call because I knew what's going to happen. Right? Anyway, so we are not on that again. Now, these are the 4 things that we'll try to analyze. What were the causes? What were the diseases? What was the disease? what were the symptoms of that particular disease and what was the behavior that was being shown. One more caution, please don't try this at home, not to yourselves, okay? These are the two things, repression and suppression. When a lot of thoughts, a lot of wishes, a lot of desires are not expressed, a lot of things that you feel are wrong, they don't come out, right? One of the best ways I have realized is to write. If you are very angry with something, write it down on a piece of paper, maybe have a blog. Of course, don't tell it to anybody else because that is just your way of letting it out. That helps. The longer something is suppressed or repressed, the greater is going to be the damage, basically. Now this results in a situation which is called neurosis. Why are we talking about modern psychological terms like neurosis when we are talking about the Bhagavad Gita? The reason is chapter 1 also tells us the physical state of Arjuna. Physically what was happening to him. The Gandiva is slipping away from my hand and so on and so forth. So there were some physical symptoms. What were the physical symptoms? These were the physical symptoms which have been described in the Bhagavad Gita. Limbs shiver, mouth is parched, body quivers, sweaty palms, unable to stand, and nausea. Now modern day psychologists and psychiatrists consider these to be the symptoms of neurosis. Right? You read any book on psychology and psychiatry, they will tell you. If, for example, when a kid is appearing for the 12th exam, होता है ना, हाथ में पसीना आता है, जब nervousness बहुत बढ़ जाती है, तब हाथ में पसीना आता है, and so on and so forth. So these are the actual conditions which have been described in chapter 1 of the Bhagavad Gita. This is what Arjuna was facing, right? What does this result in? This results in 3 different types of behaviors. The first, there are 2 problems with goals. Okay, no, we are not having a session on goal setting. Okay, that's just a lot of vocabulary. There are 2 problems with goals. First, we set a goal, then we think whether we are worthy of reaching that goal. Many of us don't try, many of the current employees, of course, they don't try to find a career which suits their personality. They try to have a personality which suits the career, which cannot be permanent. Which cannot be permanent. At the age of 22 to 23, the backbone of a personality now is already in place. Okay, again this is in complete opposition to what a lot of what Western thinkers say. Right? So these were the symptoms. Second, avoid responsibility. You must have seen this a lot. People avoiding responsibility, right? Nothing to be. Seek external validation. We always want someone else to tell us we are good. Appraisal, certificate, award, and so on and so forth. I'm not saying that everybody who seeks an award is a neurotic person. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying this is the behavior that comes out of that particular state of mind. So if any particular employee is displaying this behavior, this is what is wrong. Right? Just telling him, do your job, otherwise you will not get an incentive. Do your job, otherwise, I don't think that helps. That might help you for 1 quarter. It won't help you for the 2nd quarter. So this is, and this results in a situation where hopes are shattered, ambitions are not there, completely blasted, and a person suffers from extremely low self-esteem, where a person is not able to respect himself. If a person is not able to respect himself, how can he perform well? It's out of the question. Right? Remember, we are talking about going to the causes. We are not talking about treating the symptoms. Right? And then, this usually happens. Humans have a tendency to glorify their weakness using vocabulary. Whatever weakness, See, language is such a beautiful thing. And it's possibly man's best invention and man's worst invention together. Because language can be used to clarify, language can be used to obfuscate. See, I just did that. Language can be used to clarify, language can be used to confuse. Clear? So this is, then we'll skip this part because we are running short of time, but I'll just take you through the slides. First, the physical form. These are the 4 levels at which we need to understand people. Then, the emotional form. What does he think? What is he like? What are his attitudes and so on and so forth. Then, there is an intellectual form for a person. This will tell you what motivates him. Then, there is a spiritual form. This will tell you whether his goals are aligned to the organization, what is his ethical system and what is his value system. Right? At different levels of employees, different things become important. When you go to the topmost level, it's the topmost thing that is important. If a person's goals are, why do you think people earning millions of dollars quit their jobs and have their startups? Goals not aligned with the, remember it happens at a very high level. This is exactly the hierarchy. You might be remembering something called the Maslow's triangle. This is roughly the same hierarchy which has been depicted there, and there is a caution. Whenever we talk about employees, an arm's length principle, whenever we talk about any person in general, an arm's length principle is the best way to understand them. You are not involved. Arm's length principle is the best way to understand ourselves also. Try to do a small experiment. You can definitely try this at home. We should write down about ourselves, yourself, and try to read it in the third person, not with your name. This person has done an MBA from this and this college. This person has this strength, not you, this person. The clarity that comes regarding ourselves is on a different level altogether. Right? We'll move on. So we have something called as excuse manufacturing factory, called EMF. Of course, in science it's called the electromotive force or something. It's been a long time since I've studied. I even forgotten whether it was physics or chemistry. The first, large-heartedness. All of us have that. That is Hindi, बड़ा भाई बनने का शौक. ठीक है? इसको माफ कर दो. मैं छोटे भाई जैसा है, माफ कर दो. अगर अर्जुना ने ऐसा एटीट्यूड दिखा तो शायद युद्ध हुआ ही नहीं रहता. It's not about who, it's about what. How is it? See, it's a very brutal philosophy. You'll have to excuse me for saying that. How is it that something done by your friend is okay, and the same thing of lower intensity done by a person you don't know is not okay? Why that discrimination? I call that discrimination. Because we are giving importance to who. We are not giving importance to what. And the Bhagavad Gita says it's what, and what. It's not who. It's a very brutal philosophy. It's a very ruthless philosophy. For example, you don't know how to swim. You fall into water and you die. Is it fair? Is it fair? No, somebody pushed me. You don't know how to swim, and that's worse. If you don't know how to swim, what were you doing standing near the water? And you were not watching your back also? So if you don't know how to swim and you fall into water, what will happen? Philosophy is ruthless. You will die. Simple. Second, this is the reason Arjuna gave. I don't want to commit a sin. I'll incur the entire sin by killing my brothers and their grandfathers and whatnot. उसमें और मेरे में क्या फर्क हो जाएगा, मैंने भी वैसे किया. तो ये बहुत बार सोचते हैं हम. अभी हो सकता है एक्चुअल रीजन हो कुछ नहीं करने का. बहुत बार ये एक्सक्यूज भी होता है कुछ नहीं करने का. मैंने भी अगर वही किया जो उसने किया, तो उसमें और मेरे में फर्क क्या रह गया? फर्क ये है कि तुम सही हो और वो गलत है. एनीवे, मैं ऐसा ही ठीक हूं. One of the greatest escapist lines of all time. I'm good like this. कुछ चलता. I'm okay. How about this? Sacrifice is the best virtue. Nothing can be farther from the truth. according to the Bhagavad Gita? What sacrifice? See, if you are good at something, it's your responsibility to be good at it. It's your responsibility to get some result out of the goodness. It's not your right. There's a huge difference. If you are good and you say, "Mere ko nahi hona," and you stand apart, what will happen? A person who's not so good will come, the quality of the system will go down, and you will criticize the quality of the system. When it came to you, what did you do? Ran away, like Arjuna was trying to do. So, please, according to the Bhagavad Gita, sacrifice is not a virtue. Care, we need not explain this to people who are in a competitive corporate sector. Justifying cowardice, focusing on who rather than where, covered this fear of change. There are a lot of people. See, one of the greatest platitudes of all time is, change is the only constant. Why are we saying that? Why are we even saying that? Do we have a choice? We don't have a choice. So what we do? We say something so that we feel good. One of that is, change is the only constant. Seen a lot of change, would give anything for stability. Okay, but that's not how the world works. And because change is constantly happening, we manufacture it. Change is the only constant. This is the reason why we have so many proverbs in English. Somebody somewhere made a mess of things to justify that there was a proverb. How do you explain better late than never and the sooner the better in the same language? A stitching time says 9 could have been said only by somebody who forgot to get a stitch in time and then had to get 9 stitches. So that is the reason. Anyway, so there is a fear of change. This is the result. This is the position again in which a lot of people find themselves not masculine enough and not feminine enough. The Bhagavad Gita uses a word called klaibyam to describe this state, where completely manly virtues of, fight, etc., etc. Arjuna wants to fight, but he also loves his cousins. In philosophy, this fight is considered to be a masculine. I'm not saying women don't fight. Women also fight. No, I meant it in a very good way. I was talking about Rani Lakshmi Jhansi. Some of them remembered their wives. Again, that's not my responsibility. So women also fight. That's not the problem. But Arjuna was torn between the two. There was, if you look at his excuses, I want to, but I don't want to, but I don't want to, because he's neither here nor there. Anyway, so we'll wind up with the keys to motivation. This is the first thing which maybe Arjuna forgot. That individuals, I think I've exceeded my time limit a bit, or by a lot, so I'll try to wind it up as fast as possible. The first thing, who Bhishma, who Drona, who cousins, they are not individuals. They are part of a cause. There is a very interesting incident in the Mahabharata. Karna, once after, there is this episode called the Virat Yudh, where Arjuna single-handedly defeats everybody. Okay. After that episode, Karna goes to Bhishma and says, ki, both of them have the same guru, Parshurama. And he says, ki, आप मेरे गुरु भाई हो, मैं महावीर हूँ, ये मेरा घमंड नहीं बोल रहा है, मैंने भारत के समस्त राजाओं महाराजाओं को युद्ध में हराया है, बट जब जब मेरा अर्जुन से सामना हुआ है, मेरी हार ही हुई है. ऐसा क्यों? Why? And Bhishma has a very simple answer to that. He says, क्योंकि तुम अधर्म के शिविर में खड़े हो. तुम क्षत्रिय हो. तुम्हारा कर्तव्य है धर्म की रक्षा करना, पर तुम अधर्म के शिविर में खड़े हो. उस विराट युद्ध में मैं भी तो था. मैं कहां जीत पाया हूं अर्जुन से आज तक. इसलिए अपनी व्यक्तिगत विजय चाहते हो तो अर्जुन को, तो दुर्योधन को छोड़ दो. Big lesson in that episode. If you are good and overall you are doing the right thing, that good will translate into a very big achievement. If you are very good but you are doing the wrong thing, there is no use of being very good. That's the lesson we need to learn. So basically, individual's rights can never be superior to the rights of a group. An individual's objective can never be superior to the objective of the organization. Remember, it's a very ruthless philosophy, right? And then, of course, you cannot say it in this way being HR. We'll have to quote it with a lot of sugary language. When in doubt, follow rules. When not in doubt, make your own rules. It's that simple. This is the second thing which is key to motivation. There's a Hindi movie called Seher. Anybody who has heard of it? It had Arshad Warsi in a very non-comedy kind of a role. And one of the lines in that movie struck me. He's having a talk with his mother. He's an IPS officer. He's transferred from here to there and there to here. And he's asking his mother कि आपको बहुत तकलीफ होती होगी मेरे कारण. And his mother says only one thing. फर्ज से बेईमानी करना दुनिया का सबसे आसान पेशा है. Not doing your duty is the easiest profession in the world. Doing your duty is the toughest profession of all time. Right? Then, paradharmo bhayavaha. Never do anybody else's duty. Assuming somebody else's duty on us is a big crime. You will suffer. Do your duty. The Gita is very specific. Do your duty inappropriately is less bad than doing somebody else's duty properly. खुद का काम बहुत अच्छे से नहीं करना ये तो गलत है ही. दूसरे का काम अच्छे से करना ये उससे ज्यादा गलत है. And remember, duties are not defined by designations. That is one very important thing we need to remember. Duties are not defined by designations. There is a higher definition of duty. We'll get to that sometime. The two greatest dangers in performance of action, when you decide to act, there are two dangers. The first, unfinished acts. How many times has it happened that we have started something and we were not able to bring it to a proper conclusion? Quite a lot of times with me, of course, right? But it happens. जैसा जिम जाना है. Okay, we started with such a जोश. तलवलकर जाके पैसे दे दिए, अगले दिन नए 2 ट्रैक सूट खरीदे, नए जूते, नया बैग. तलवलकर जाएंगे. पर वो दिन फ्राइडे था. फ्राइडे नाइट वीकेंड कल्चर आ चुका है अभी नागपुर में. मंडे से जाएंगे. ठीक है, फिर मंडे आते आते ये बहुत बार हुआ है. So this happens. This is a very big problem. Unfinished acts. You must have seen in organization many people start a lot of things. They are not able to bring it to a proper conclusion. Start one thing, conclude it. That's much more better. Next point. According to Maslow again, a salary can motivate people only to a certain extent. If you really want a person to work without looking at the clock, it's not possible with a higher salary. It's possible only with a sentiment or an idea. I mean, moral, immoral, that's your choice. Money is not going to make him work without looking at the clock, unless you pay him like what? Through the roof, which the company of course cannot afford. And salary is not important. You might be paying him just sufficient so that his house is, ghar grahasti chal rahi hai types. If you want him to work 15 hours, 18 hours, money is not important. It's a sentiment or an idea. And that is what one needs to work on. The next point, evenness of mind, but this is a different chapter on karma yoga and so on and so forth. Not this time. We have crossed. Action is its own reward, except for a salesperson. Except for a person in sales where, revenues are the only reward. But the Gita says if you actually work, results will happen. We'll come to that concept also. As I said, one size does not fit all. Depending on an employee's mental makeup, different things work for different people. That much elasticity in systems is very important. you cannot have the same rule to measure everybody, right? Then an important caution, never be a hasty master. This is a very important caution given in the Bhagavad Gita. I'll just take 5 more minutes and then I'll wind up. Sorry for taking up so much of your time. It specifically mentions that there might be times when people are living in an age which is completely opposite to the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. That possibility is considered in the Bhagavad Gita itself. Right? And the advice is very simple. Don't be a hasty master. Don't try to change everything immediately. Impossible. Things will break, they will not change. It has to be guided, slowly, 1 degree at a time. Things are moving this way, you want it, it's not a car, is it? Things are moving this way, 1 degree at a time, 1 degree at a time, 1 degree, it will slowly happen. Don't be in haste. Don't change the rules from tomorrow. Change a word, change a comma, start getting things into the right direction. Once that process starts, things happen automatically. A lot of things have been said about this. The karma conundrum, as we call it, there are a lot of modern day definitions also. For example, revenge is good, but it's better to sit back and let karma take over and so on and so forth. A lot of modern sayings, some we can't actually say on this forum. This is what we think. This is the direct result. Our action, there's an arrow over there, not visible I think. This is what we think. Actions, results. Okay. But the Bhagavad Gita says, this is one thing. Variables which we know exist and we can predict how they behave. Then, we know that these variables are there, but we can't predict how they behave. Then, we don't even know the existence of some variables. When all these come together, that is when an action leads to a proper result. We should not be arrogant to think my action has led to proper result. Right? One thing is certain. If we don't act, whatever be the direction in which the variables behave, the result will not be achieved. If we don't act, if we act, chances are the variables will behave positively. And that action will lead to the desired result. Right? That is why this is said. Action is no guarantee of results, but no action is a guarantee of no results. Just because you act, it will not. It's like proposing to a girl, which I managed to do quite a number of times, by the way. अगर बोला नहीं तो नहीं पटेगी, ये तय है. बोला पटेगी जरूरी थोड़ी है. It's the same thing. If you do something, there is no. In fact, Krishna gives a very interesting example to Arjuna in this. He says that suppose you take aim at a deer and you fire the arrow and you miss. Does it mean you are a bad archer? What if after you fired the arrow, released the arrow, the deer moved? तुम्हारा अधिकार तुम्हारे वाण संधान पर है. तुम्हारा अधिकार तुम्हारी दृष्टि पर है. उस मृग पर तुम्हारा कोई अधिकार नहीं है जिसकी तरफ तुम बाण चला रहे हो. Are you very clear? So that is what it is. Action is no guarantee of result. No action is a guarantee of no results. Finally, the final lesson. As people who want to make other people work, always remember this. The basic nature of a man is not action, it's inertia. A person wants to, अगर ऐसी छोड़ दिया